Hello there, it's Annmarie here from Annmarie Baptist Church, and it is so good to be with you for our Facebook Live. I hope you're enjoying the weather, and I hope wherever you are that you're managing to keep cool in this warm weather and having plenty of cool drinks. It is warm, isn't it? It's really, really warm, but it's lovely. We're not going to complain. We're not going to complain because soon enough we'll be dealing with much different weather. So let's enjoy it while we have it. Yesterday, Rich and I went to an afternoon tea, but it was an afternoon tea with a difference. It was a picnic lunch. So when we got there and we all took our places, we were all handed a little bag, a little paper bag, and in the bag was a sandwich and a packet of crisps, and there was some cocktail sausages on sticks, and there was mini Scotch eggs, and a couple of another cocktail sausage with cheese and tomatoes on it, and we all had our little packed lunch, and it was really lovely. It was different, something different for these events, and it reminded me of the story that I don't know whether you know this, but there is a packed lunch in the Bible. There is a picnic lunch in the Bible, and it's all about the time when Jesus was speaking, doing the Sermon on the Mount, when he was speaking to big crowds of people, and the crowds were getting bigger and bigger. And this story is told in three of the Gospels. But in one of the Gospels, there's an extra little bit of detail. So what happens is you've got all of these people listening to what Jesus is saying, and he's talking and telling stories and teaching, and eventually the disciples say, well, we've been here a long time, there's an awful lot of people, maybe we should send them off to go and find some food. And Jesus says, well, why don't you feed them? There's a bit of a challenge. And they were like, oh gosh, I mean, if we were to feed all of these 5,000 people, and actually it was probably more than 5,000 people, because usually when they counted how many men were there. So then there'd be all those men, plus most of them would probably have wives or other family and children. So there could have been 10,000 people there. And the disciples were saying it would cost us like a year's wages. Like, what can we do? And then the extra bit of detail in the Gospel of John is that it was a little boy who had this little packed lunch of 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish. And he had obviously agreed to give it away. Now, if I was in a big crowd of people and I had brought my little packed lunch with me, I would probably be very tempted to scuttle away behind a tree. And I mean, I probably could have shared it with a couple of people, but I would have thought to give it to this big crowd. You would have thought, well, I'm not going to get any of that back. My packed lunch is going to disappear into the crowd. But the boy brought his lunch, and of course, Jesus took the lunch, got everybody to sit down, gave thanks for it, and they started to distribute it. And it just kept going and going and going, and it fed everybody with baskets of leftovers, 12 baskets of leftovers. And the reason I love that story is because it reminds me of the currency of the kingdom of God, the exchange rate of the kingdom of God. When we look at the financial markets and we look at what's going on around the world, a lot of the financial markets are talking about how bad things are and how everything's going down and nothing is worth what it used to be worth and all of that. Whereas in the kingdom of God, you give 5 loaves and 2 fish to Jesus, and he will feed a multitude with it, because that is the currency of the kingdom of God. That's the exchange rate of the kingdom of God. You bring your small gift, your small talent, your little bit of time, your little couple of pounds, your little few minutes, your little bit of expertise, your little bit of whatever it is that you have. And if you're willing to give that to the kingdom of God and to use that, or for it to be used for God's kingdom, Jesus takes it and multiplies it. So what I wanted to remind you today, and I suppose in a way I'm reminding myself as well, is that the attitude of that young boy, I think, is really significant, because One, he could have kept the little he had, maybe shared it with one or two other people, but basically scuttled away and had his packed lunch and left everybody else to worry about them. But he also might have worried about how stupid he would feel. Like, I know there's like 10,000 people here, but I've got like 5 bits of bread and 2 bits of fish. And I love the fact that he was willing to say, Lord, this is all I have. Can you use it? And you better believe that God can use it. You better believe that Jesus can use it. He absolutely can use it. The small gift, the small amount of time, the small amount of expertise, the small amount of whatever it is that you have, that you're willing to give. If you invest that, give that into the kingdom of God, he can use it for huge purposes. So I would encourage you, if there's something maybe that's been niggling you, maybe you've been thinking about serving in some way in your church or getting involved in your community, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't really have much. I don't have much to give. I'd only have an hour, or I'd only have a few pounds, or I'd only have, I'm not an expert in this situation, but I could give a little bit of advice on that. Your small gift used for God's kingdom can produce a multitude of results. So don't ever feel that your gift or your talents or your time are too small for God, because the exchange rate in the kingdom of God is huge. And don't worry either about what other people might think of this tiny little gift that you're bringing. Don't let it bother you that, if, oh gosh, the attitude or the response that other people might have to the small thing that you can do. If you can do it, then do it. Absolutely. If you can do it, then do it. It is worth doing for God's kingdom. And just remember that little boy with his lunch who was just willing to give it to God and let God do whatever he would do with it. And God fed a multitude of people from a small bit of food because of the willingness of that boy and the faith that he had in sharing it. So I would encourage you, share what you have, use what you have, give what you can to whatever you believe God is calling you to respond to, and watch what he does. He uses everything. Nothing goes to waste, and he uses everything for his glory and for the extension and building of his kingdom. Thank you so much for watching today. Stay nice and cool, stay in the shade, have plenty of drinks. If you know anybody vulnerable around you, living near you, who maybe is living on their own or something, check in on them, see if they're okay. Make sure everyone around you is okay. Take good care in this warm weather, and we will be back with you next week. God bless you. Bye-bye.